So first one on the board, the Falcons hiring Raheem Morris as head coach and Zach Robinson as the OC from the Rams. Like it, love it, or trash it.
Are we saying for the team or for these individual
For the team.
guys? Okay.
Well, for the team, the ones that got hired. For the other ones, we're gonna say for them.
I got you. So for Atlanta, yeah, I love it. You bring in Raheem Morris, right? Which I think Atlanta did a good job rebuilding some of that defense during last offseason. So now you bring in the defense, a guy who's still pretty young, knows that division, which I like for Atlanta, that Raheem Morris knows that division. And then he makes the smart move. I mean, this is part of being a good coach. You got to surround yourself with a good staff. Connections, yes, as our guy Mike Wallace says. So Zach Robinson as OC, Zach Robinson has been with my guy Sean McVay. It's bound to work. And Raheem Morris coming from, the Rams as well, where Zach Robinson was. This is bound to work. Great hire by the Falcons. I love it.
Yeah, I agree. I love it. They get a coach with experience. He's been a head coach before. He's got a 10-win season on his resume. And he's been at division, like you said, coached the Bucks. And Robinson is a great play caller. He's in that, like you said, McVay Shanahan tree. Like, this is exactly what Atlanta needed. Like, this could be the next Detroit Lions if they get the right quarterback hire with these new coaches. Next one, Dave Canales, your boy,
my
as
guy,
the head coach of the Carolina Panthers.
When I said his name on the episode where we were talking about potential hires, everyone was like, after the show, who's that guy? Listen.
Bro, nobody said that.
You got to listen to our show. We give you the info before it happens. Where did I say Canales was going? Did I predict Carolina? I can't remember.
I mean, probably.
It may have been, because I love this hire for Carolina. Dave Canales was with the Seahawks, right? He's the guy that helped Geno. Goes to be OC in Tampa, makes Baker Mayfield look awesome again. All right. And now he gets to go to Carolina to work with Bryce Young, the number 1 overall pick from last year. So listen, you as Carolina, you needed to bring in a guy for Bryce Young. I'm sorry, you could not have brought in a defensive coordinator, right? Or even a guy that had experience as a defensive coordinator, as the head coach. You needed to bring in an offensive guy that can work with quarterbacks, not just an offensive coordinator, but an offensive coordinator that has had success with quarterbacks. Geno Smith, Baker Mayfield. Hey, you got to love this hire if you're a Carolina fan. Our guy, Mike Regina, love the hire. He's endorsed by the Dawn.
I'm going to go slightly below. I like it. No, I'm joking. I love it, of course. For everything you said, man. Like, come on. He got comeback player of the year type seasons out of Geno Smith and Baker Mayfield. Like, these are dudes that we thought should have been on the street before this guy coached him. And now he goes to Carolina, and like you said, Bryce Young, he's there to fix him. If he fixes Bryce Young, he just might be God. So I love this move by the Panthers. They couldn't have done any better. Now let's talk about your guy, Bobby Slowick, staying in Houston as the offensive coordinator. Love it, like it, or trash it.
Man, at first, JT, I wasn't sure, but now I'm like, I love it for him because, listen, he gets to run it back with a young bunch of guys. When your quarterback, CJ Stroud, why are you in a hurry to go anywhere? Because, listen, at the end of the day, it's all on the head coach, the pressure at this point. D'Amico Ryans has set that bar high for himself. And so Houston expects the win now. Bobby Slowick's like, hey, I get to be at an organization that now the expectation is to win. And I've got a young quarterback that he may have been the steal of the draft. And he has all these young pieces. I mean, he's got, hopefully Tank Dell can come back 100%. Right? He's got other pieces in there.
Bro, how you just going to skip past Nico Collins? That's the best weapon they got.
I didn't finish yet. Obviously, the guys, Nico Collins, you still have guys like Noah Brown in there. Like, this is a really nice receiving core, and he's done a great job of developing that offense. So don't be in a rush just yet. Don't
rush to get old, as the old man says. I like what I'm seeing this offseason, man. These offensive coordinators are like, look, man, we want to stay put for 30 years like Tom Moore or somebody. Like, we ain't going nowhere.
That's a good reference. Way to go, man.
I'm just saying, man.
Hey, Peyton Manning loves the guy.
I do think this is the new wave in the NFL, and I was talking with somebody about this the other day. I think, especially offensive guys, I think if they're in situations like Slowick, and we're going to talk about Ben Johnson next, I think when they're in situations where they got chances to win, I think they're going to stay in those because the hype is never going to go away. Think about it. As long as Slowick is tied to CJ Stroud and Stroud's going to play well, like, where is the hype going to go for Slowick as a coaching candidate? Like, they're always going to want him as long as CJ Stroud plays well. So he can stay and wait for a good job to open. I think these guys are tired of taking these jobs that are not good, and it's burning their opportunity to be a coach again. Like, you only get so many opportunities at this. Like, Arthur Smith is a guy everybody was like, oh, look what he did in Tennessee. It was so great. He went to Atlanta. He's going to be the Ron Rivera of OCs for the rest of his career. Like, ain't nobody hiring him again. He don't got a New England Patriots to go back to and rebuild his brand because they winning because of not anything he's doing. Like, so many guys get ruined by taking bad jobs.
Look how long it took Raheem Morris to get another shot.
Yeah, exactly. I'm surprised he did get another one, but
yeah.
I will say this for Slowick, I like it, and it's for exactly what I said. His legacy and hype as an offensive guy goes through the roof as CJ Stroud gets better. So it's a win-win for him. Like, wait for the job opening up. Andy Reid going to retire at some point, and everybody want to be available for that Kansas City job because it ain't going to Matt Nagy. That's all I'm saying. So I think you're going to see a lot of guys maybe hold off an extra year to see if Andy kicks the bucket as a coach and maybe rides off into the sunset, but I like it. Last one. Love it, like it, trash it. Ben Johnson staying in Detroit as their OC.
Trash it. Trash it. Listen, it's the second year in a row now that he's taken himself out of the running. So that starts to throw up red flags for me. Is he not interviewing well and guys, and he knows they're not hiring him? Or is it true, even though his agent denied it, that he's demanding $15 million a year to be a head coach? Like, who do you think you are? Belichick and Mike Tomlin aren't getting those amounts.
Bro, that's Nick Saban money.
That's not even Nick. Nick Saban was only making that through all the endorsements.
Bro, the only person that gets paid like that is a fool that would pay Matt Rule. That's it.
I mean,
I agree with you. I'm gonna trash it, but I heard a report. I don't know how true this is, but I read it a couple times that basically the Commanders were coming to interview him, and he just told them he's taking his name out of the running. So immediately when I saw that, you know what I thought about? This guy could be the next Josh McDaniels, and maybe he's not head coaching material.
Right.
Like, I agree with you, the 2 years, but Detroit is a good situation, so I could see him staying, waiting for the right job.
Well, that's what he says. That so yeah, we have to believe. We have to believe him.
You think I'm joking? I think some of this is kind of tied to Andy Reid, because are we so sure if the Chiefs win the Super Bowl that Andy Reid ain't gonna retire? Like, are we so sure that's gonna happen? Like, he gonna retire at some point.
It could sneak up on us like the Nick Saban retirement.
That's what I'm saying. Right. Like, he could retire, and all of a sudden the Chiefs, everybody and their mama is throwing their hats in the ring to be a head coach of that job. So you got to be available. I would be pissed if I just signed this 6-year deal with the Commanders only for Andy Reid to retire 3 weeks later, and I could have been the top candidate to interview to coach Mahomes for the rest of my career. So I do think that's a part of it. But the way he did it, it gives me Josh McDaniels vibes. And it seems like you said, I think the money is a part of it. And I think the control is a part of it. And for that reason, I trash it. It's just giving me the wrong vibe. Like, being a head coach is a hell of an opportunity. You got to take them when you get them if you don't want to understand. But all this other stuff, I've never seen this before from her first-time head coaches.
So, JT, you mentioned something, and I think that, you finally bring up a great point. Like, this is amazing by you. I can't believe it. The whole Andy Reid, if they win, does he retire? I think that I didn't think about that. That is a great point by you. I think we need to really come up with that quote for you, put it on social media, and it's quoted by JT of JT and the Don All Sports Podcast.
I'm just
let's
saying.
Go viral with that. Go viral. That's a great point. I'm dead serious.
How many jobs are going to open up where?
But no,
I have that kind of scenario.
I think you're right about the whole Andy Reid thing. You're not hearing anything like that. Just like you didn't hear anything about Nick Saban. That's the point I'm making.
Well,
Forget about who comes in,
but we didn't believe it.
I think you might be right with the whole Andy Reid thing, because he might look at it and say, how many more times can we realistically go back year in and year out? Let me go out on top with 3 rings, because the 3 rings,
but Andy Reid also look at it like, what else do I have left to prove if I win the Super Bowl?
Right. 3 rings is the standard. Like 2 is nice. That puts you in with Shula, and it puts you in with like I think
2 gets you a restaurant chain, 3 gets you enshrined.
Tom Landry, Mike Shanahan, but 3 puts you in with like Joe Gibbs, and then that next tier with Bill Walsh, and then that next tier under Chuck Noll and everybody. So that's a great point, by before we move on Wednesday, it looks like that Mike Macdonald hired as head coach of the Seattle Seahawks, Mike Macdonald, defensive coordinator of the Baltimore Ravens. JT, I'm going to steal your segment. Love it, like it, or trash it by Seattle.
Trash it. It's a defensive guy. Like, this team is built to have an explosive offense. If that's the case, they should have just kept Pete Carroll, who secretly was throwing his name in for the Chargers job that Harbaugh got. But I get you kind of had to make the move because their top 2 candidates were like, nah, we're going to stay in Slowick and Ben Johnson. So I guess you had to hire somebody. But, bro, like, Seattle is ready to be competitive now on offense. Like, you got to get somebody that's going to make Geno play better, or whatever quarterback you draft to replace him. Like, yeah, the Ravens defense was awesome, but I got to see who the coordinators are he's bringing in. But my initial is I'm going to trash it.
So my initial thought is I like it. I don't love it, but I'm not going to trash it. I like it because if you look at what Mike Macdonald has done the last couple spots, Michigan and then Baltimore, I mean, Baltimore won the Triple Crown of defense this year.
Yeah, it's insane.
So that is crazy to me. And I didn't think he could do it because, sometimes you go from college to the pros, it's a whole different beast. And you know what? He looks even better than when he was at Michigan. And usually at Michigan, he had way more talent than the next team. So the fact that he could take this Baltimore defense, turn them into the Triple Crown winner of defenses in the NFL, literally in a year and a half, whatever it is that he's been there, then I got to believe like this guy has something. And Seattle's they're always going to go opposite of what the trend is, it seems like. So that exactly. Division's offense, McVay, Shanahan, Kyler Murray with Arizona. So they say, you know what we're going to do? We're going to build it like we did in the early 2000s, the 2010s. We're going to go defense, and we're going to go get our guy. So that is why I like it. Not sure if I love it because maybe they could have swayed Bobby Slowick with a little bit more money.
If Pete Carroll's retiring, pay Ben Johnson the damn money.
I like that hire. I do.